probably your quiet season, but with this you
have a lot of going on. Yeah, giant pumpkin growing, but we do have the International Growers Convention coming, which of course they have to schedule that in the off season.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been a lot of work, but it's going to be a lot of fun too.
All right, stick around, folks. Find out how you can get involved, and it's not just for the growers. If you just love giant pumpkin,
Yep.
get involved in that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
In fact, isn't one of the contenders a professor up there or something?
Yeah, we're going to have a guest speaker there. He's going to do a presentation. He is a professor up there of crop physiology.
And his side hustle is growing giant pumpkins. Maybe selling the seeds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, stick around for that. Plus, we have a KRCL history clip to play. It's Aldine, actually. Last year with the student journalists from the University of Utah, one of their assignments was to pick someone, and Aldine and Preston had a great conversation on Al's farm, but they go all the way back to his childhood in Utica. Jeez, Laura. And get us all the way up to the present day and everything in between. So stick around for that. Also, Green Latinos will be joining us to talk about Martin Luther King Day, which is no longer free at any national park near you. So we're going to talk about that. Also, Skywatcher Leo T. But we're going to do what we always do, go across the hall. I want to say thank you to Sullivan Petchenpang, Griffin Hall, Connor Estes, and Maggie Brunner, who are getting the AV going. And in fact, we're streaming live on our YouTube channel. You can find a link through krcl.org. And we've got Derek Wright across the hall. Lionfish is your baby. Tell us about the band. It's been together a while. You're doing well. It was so funny. You come in for all sorts of other things, and you're like, Laura, when can I get Lionfish on? I'm like, well, yeah. We haven't had you. You're always here advocating for other bands through Tiny Porch and Grid City and things like that.
All those things.
And in the meantime, you're still playing. So Lionfish has been around a while.
Yeah, Lionfish was born in 2008. That's when we released our first record. Then I went off to Portland for a few years. Came back.
40 years in the wilderness up in Portland.
Yeah, I came back in 2019 and we reformed. And this is the best lineup ever. Just cast of bros.
Yeah, tell us who's all in the band.
Okay, on drums we got the Godfather, the one and only Anthony Perry.
Make some noise, Anthony Perry.
On keys we have Ken Kruckenberg.
Hey, Ken!
Ken's the most recent member, and he was a lucky find.
Yeah, he's been around as a producer ages.
Yeah, I found him when we did the second song we're going to play today. Is called Heartbeat, and I recorded that with Ken at his studio, Sonic Pathways. So any of you out there that want to record and want a killer studio and engineer,
great ears.
Ken's your man.
Yeah.
Yeah, on lead guitar, I have Georgi Petrov.
Let's hear
He's
it.
our secret weapon.
Oh, yeah? How secret?
He moved here from New Orleans. Yeah. He moved here from New Orleans during COVID, so
there you go.
Scooped him up. And then the one and only Doug Wright on bass.
Hometown bass player. There you go.
Yeah.
So you got a gig coming at Brewski's. Yep. Folks can get some music.
Yep,
you did a special project that we talked about not too long ago when you and Anthony came in. Mm-hmm. And let's hear this first one. What you got?
Yeah, the first song, we released it on Inauguration Day. It's called Grifter's Ball.
Sorry.
And I'm sure by the title you can guess what it's about. But, just suffice it to say there's a lot wrong in the world today.
Yeah.
And this song speaks to that.
All right. Fresh and homegrown right here on Punk Rock Farmer Friday, Lionfish.
Lights turn up the night, climbing up the wall. Lady Liberty bears her head and braces for the fall. Get up your braces. Well, my stomach churns as the people burn. Thugs in camo, spew despair. Prepare to fight. There's protest in the air. There's protest. drifters fall. Cause they fall to the drifters fall. Chill them all. Vacancies and slot machines, gypsies, tramps, and whores. My mind is like a mangy morgue on the verge of civil war. On the civil war. It's an automatic debit. They couldn't let it. Bound to take a fall. Hate injection, a constant connection. Mood infection that is brewing at the grifter fall. Come now, brother. Come now, brother. Come now, sister. Come now, sister. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Come on down to the grifter's fall. Fall at the grifter's fall. Chill them all at the grifter's fall. Cause they fall at the grifter's fall. Chill them all.
It's the Grifters Ball. Lionfish, homegrown, live in the big room here at KRCL. All you got to do is go to krcl.org and hit the YouTube link, and you can see them playing in the studio. I'm Laura Jones. Al Dine is on the road, but I've got a conversation with Al recorded with our voices amplified. Man, the brain is just not firing on all cylinders tonight, Clint. I apologize. I think I'm missing Al Dine, so.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
We all
so
are.
stick around. You know, the Grifters Ball is a perfect intro to our first guest. Joining us by Zoom, Olivia Juarez from Green Latinos. Hey, Olivia.
Hey, Laura. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so that Grifters Ball, I think, worked out just nice for you, considering the backdrop against which you'll be doing some outreach on Dr. King Day, Monday the 19th. Tell us what's going on and why.
You betcha. We're coming together with community members to distribute free baked goods and hot drinks to bus drivers and bus riders at a very popular ski bus stop to thank them for doing the right thing by taking the bus up Big Cottonwood Canyon, and for those drivers who provide the super essential and high demand service.
And this is happening against that backdrop of the Doug Burgum's announcement, dissolving Martin Luther King Day, Juneteenth, Great American Outdoors Act Day, National Public Lands Day is free days at national parks and federal recreation lands. Wow. How do you feel about that?
I immediately reacted feeling dejected, but I thought Dr. Martin Luther King, he wouldn't have just moved on. He would have marched forward with others. For years, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day has been observed by allowing people to enjoy our public lands for free in order to encourage spirit and stewardship on our public lands. And so I thought, well, what would Dr. King do? What would he want our community to do? And this would be it. He'd want us to give back in community and show that whatever the Trump administration is throwing at us, we're going to stand up, we're going to rise, and we're going to feel good about it.
All right. So tell us, what kind of baked goods? Who's going to be there? Where should we look for you?
Folks can go over to greenlatinos.org and sign up for our newsletter to get our special volunteer link. You can also find it in the show notes. And all kinds of good stuff. We're getting some gluten-free muffins donated. Fillings and Emulsions has donated some macarons.
Oh, I love those. Chef Adalberto.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a day that you're all wanting folks to make some comment, right? It's the last day for something.
It's a big day. It's the last day for all members of the public to submit a comment to the Utah Department of Transportation on their Big Cottonwood Canyon environmental assessment. that assessment proposes some pretty strong plans to address the canyon, winter canyon traffic, including an enhanced bus service. They could come every 10 minutes, a mobility hub with over 1,700 parking stalls, and bus stop improvements to make them safer for drivers, riders, and ADA compliant, on top of just being more comfortable places to hang out while you wait for the bus. We support it and see great room for opportunity for improvement, specifically to have numerous canyon connection buses bringing people from where they live in the valley directly to that mobility hub, so everybody can enjoy our canyons regardless of their access to private form of transportation.
All right, so we will put all that in the show notes. Lots for you folks to do on Dr. King Day, and this is just one of those options to meet up with Green Latinos. There's a march at 2 o'clock that starts at the Open Union Ballroom at the University of Utah and then goes down to Kingsbury Hall. I believe there are baked goods and hot chocolate involved in that one too, Olivia. Lots of things happening, starting on Saturday with the University of Utah doing civic engagement with their students and finding service projects. So just look around, Google it. You'll find something somewhere to take part in for Dr. King Day. Green Latinos, tell us a little bit more about what is ahead in 2026 for the organization.
Oh, that's a great question. We're really looking forward to ramping up a love for our central Wasatch Mountains, period. Those areas, including Parley's Canyon, Mill Creek, Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon, and the mountain faces in between them, are so important for us to be able to recreate. And they also tell our story, our history. There's so much great history that has happened in these canyons. So we're going to conduct a literature review of the Hispanic and Latino history in these canyons. And we're going to conduct some oral histories of Hispanic and Latino identified people and their history in connection with the canyons. So if that's you, I would love to talk with you.
You record some of that. Please bring it on, okay? We'd love to share that with our listeners here at RadioActive. Now, I have to ask, because I know you also do this other thing, Stay Salty. And Connor Estes from the RadioActive crew is part of your team for the new season.
Yes, and we are a mid-production of season 2. We have a full 10-episode season being planned out. We just finished recording our first episode featuring a family in Twella who we just met by chance at the Twella Library during a listening session, who wanted to speak with us on the podcast to say that it's their plan to stay forever and forever in Twella, but with the situation at Great Salt Lake, they have to consider moving. Their kid has asthma, and that's not what they want. That's where they want to retire and be. And so doing the right thing for Great Salt Lake is what Utahns want everywhere, including in Twella. So that's one peep of one of our episodes. We're going to have more community events, including a storytelling performance. So you can find out more and stay tuned at lakefacing.org.
And these issues around the lake are something that you're really applying Green Latinos to, bringing the Hispanic voice and their experiences to the fore.
Yeah, and that's needed because we are at the foreground as a community of the negative impacts from that toxic dust on our health. Hispanics, Latinos, people of color, and low-income people, they're living closest to that dust shed. And obviously, no matter where you live in the valley, you see it, you feel it, but they're the most impacted. And it is our belief that the solutions to everybody are going to come from those who are most impacted. And so that's what we're ramping up at Green Latinos.
How can folks get involved with Green Latinos, and are all welcome?
Yes, everybody is welcome. Green Latinos envisions a thriving society where all future generations and all people are no longer overburdened by disproportionate climate crisis and environmental injustices. So you can follow along and see what we're up to at greenlatinos.org. If you scroll down to the bottom of our website, you can sign up for our newsletter. Becoming a member is free. Anybody can become a member, and we're addressing a wide range of issues from air quality and water equity to public land conservation and sustainable buildings.
Hey, thanks, Olivia. Appreciate you taking some time to Zoom with us here on RadioActive tonight.
Thank you very much. Till next time.
All right, folks, check out the show notes. We've got links, including all the details on the event on Monday with Green Latinos in honor of Dr. King Day. They are going to be at the Holiday Park and Ride, 6200 South Wasatch Boulevard in Holiday from 8 to 9 a.m. They're going to have some treats for you there. And especially to thank the ski bus drivers and ski bus riders for doing the ecologically sound thing to get up to the resorts if there's some snow up there. Right, Clint?
Yeah, hopefully we'll get some more soon.
Well, let's
been
take, yeah.
Not a great year for it so far.
Where are you? You're down in Utah County, right?
I'm in Riverton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
So how's the snow in Riverton these days?
it's pretty non-existent. I did make it up on Christmas for a few minutes, though.
There you
After
go.
Brighton, so.
Well, stick around. Clint's going to tell us all about giant pumpkin growing. But first, Skywatcher Leo T. Here you go.
Skywatcher Leo T here, where it's one sky, many cultures, as we do a little space exploration from our own backyard, or the desert, or the ocean, or mountains, as we look and see that Jupiter is really big and bright right now, just past direct opposition a few days ago on the 10th. What does that mean? Well, opposition means the Earth is directly between Jupiter and the Sun. Jupiter is at its closest and brightest for the year and visible all night long, roaring in the east and revolving south as the night goes on. The giant of the planets is at the bottom of a hookshot with Castor and Pollux, which hang down perpendicular to our view from Earth. During opposition, Jupiter rises in the east when the Sun sets in the west, reaches its highest point in the sky at midnight when the Sun is below your feet, and sets in the west when the Sun rises in the east. Wow, fun stuff. See the charts and photos on the Skywatcher Leo T Facebook page. That'll help it be a little more clear. But the wonders continue to dazzle over here as you look toward the south and see the three-star belt of Orion, which to me looks like the top of a kite. Not some dude chasing a scorpion or being chased by a scorpion with a huge sword, but hey, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? Nonetheless, whatever you like, if you're out there in the clear air and out of the city, you can make out the tail of the kite of the Orion Nebula in here. It's the second one down, and the magical Milky Way arches high over the Earth. And who knows what other treasures you will discover as you explore from your own planet. And another space exploration, good news for those of us excited to see the next NASA Artemis launch to the moon. NASA reporting January 9th that it plans to roll out the vehicle assembly building, or out of the vehicle assembly building, the Space Launch System rocket, with the Orion spacecraft on top, to famous Launch Complex 39B, no earlier than January 17th. The rollout is subject to technical readiness and weather conditions, of course. It's expected to take about 12 hours to creep out there. Artemis 2, as we have been reporting, is the first crewed mission to go out to the moon since the Apollo missions of 1972. The 4 astronauts are excited to go, and NASA technicians have been working hard, some without pay, for the last few months. These scientists, technicians, and everyone involved are determined to see this successful launch. The launch has been evolving since the Artemis 1 uncrewed test mission to the moon. Artemis 2 and Orion space capsule will go out beyond the moon on a 10-day voyage to check out all of the systems. Once at the pad, the technicians will conduct a series of tests of the vehicle and ground systems to prepare for the final major milestone before launch. It's called a wet dress rehearsal. During that test, the rocket will be loaded with liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen propellants and will undergo a full practice countdown late January. The first launch period is amazingly soon, includes late evening launch windows on February 6th, 7th, and 8th, as well as the 10th and 11th, and a second launch period in March and April. So let's go, Artemis, to the moon. And riding from a view of Earth from 250 miles above, orbital author Samantha Harvey relates what it's like to be an astronaut on board the International Space Station. I highly recommend this book, the thoughts that run through their heads, including some riveting facts about the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft that are now an incredible 14-plus billion miles out from Earth, heading out into the void known as interstellar space. Her writing here has inspired me to interpret and add some additions from confirmed sources. Pressing past the heliosphere into interstellar space are 2 contraptions known as Voyager 1 and 2, great coffee grinders wimbling into wayless dark, high-gain antenna, magnetometers, hydrazine thrusters, cosmic ray, yawing, pitching way out here, 14 billion miles away from Earth towards eternity. And on each Voyager is a golden disc that is a gold-plated copper record filled with sounds of Earth, a record of the rhythm and blues, and so much more. One day in the next 500 billion years, after a full circuit of the Milky Way, maybe someone or something will encounter the spaceships and lower the stylus and fire it up and hear the da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da of Beethoven's Fifth, rolling like thunder through a different frontier. Human music will permeate the Milky Way's outer reaches. There'll be Chuck Berry and Bach, Stravinsky and Blind Willie Johnson, and the didgeridoo, violin, slide guitar, and so much more. Music from around the world, bird song, tides rolling in, whale song, we'll drift to the stars and nebula. Perhaps a being on a planet of a distant star will hear a recording of a sheep bleat, laughter, greetings in 55 languages, or the voice of a child. And more whale sounds, please. If you got to represent the Earth, let's use a whale. Carl Sagan, who is the lead scientist on these, noted that the spacecraft will be encountered and the record played only if there are advanced spacefaring civilizations in interstellar space. But the launching of this bottle into the cosmic ocean says something very hopeful about life on this planet. Thank you, Carl. So keep the hope, keep looking up, look around, and get just a little bit lost in space. Skywatcher Leo TV.
Oh, yeah. I like that. That was a great episode, Leo. You can connect with Leo on the show notes. He's got a great Facebook page where he posts photos and his sources. And, of course, you can talk about many cultures. One Sky. I'm Laura Jones. Clint Nash is the substitute punk rock farmer. He's all about pumpkins. Stick around for that. And you're wearing your orange, which matches your hair, too. So.
Yeah. I just luckily was born with orange hair, I guess.
You're all in, right? Yep. Okay. We're going to get your pumpkin secrets in a minute. We're also going to have some history of KRCL with Aldine, who's on the road at the Utah Farm and Food Conference. They need a whole giant pumpkin plank down there next year, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should.
Let's go across the hall. We've got Lionfish live, homegrown music in the big room here at KRCL, which is live streaming as well. So, Derek, you got a gig coming up, right?
Yes, a couple of them, actually.
What you got?
Yeah. So on the 24th, we're at Brewski's in Ogden. And on the 31st, we're at Pat's Barbecue.
That's here in Salt Lake. I'll add that to the show notes where you can also find a link to music and videos. You've been making music a long time, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious, how is it going out there?
It's great, Laura. It's better than it's ever been.
There's more festivals than ever.
That's true. And a lot of house concerts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
We need a few more venues, but,
All right.
hopefully somebody's working on it.
Somebody's working on it. You can count on it.
Yeah.
So this next one, Heartbeat, I know I told you no long jams, but we got time. So you can stretch out on these next two songs if you want.
Okay.
Tell us about Heartbeat.
So in May of 2024, I had open heart surgery.
Oof.
I had what they call an ascending aortic aneurysm.
That's not good.
So I found out about that a couple of months before that, and I did what any musician would do. I went home and I poured myself a stiff one. I was like, holy moly. And wrote this song in about 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And then I sent it to my doctor.
Okay.
And I said, hey, Doc, I wrote this song for you, so do a good job. And that's where I met Ken, actually. I recorded it at his studio. So,
That's fantastic. Here we go. It's Heartbeat with Lionfish, fresh and homegrown, right here on KRCL, Punk Rock Farmer Friday.
I feel your heartbeat, baby. Do you feel mine? I like my heartbeat when it beats all the time. I feel just maybe, honey, something's not right. Little bit of bubbling, and I'll burst in the night. That ain't right. Cut me wide open, right to my soul. Thanks in advance, Doc, for making me whole. Gratitude for what you do, won't you take it to the other side? Throw in some sunshine when I'm cut open wide. Take me on a ride. I feel your heartbeat, baby. Do you feel mine? Just a little misery, just a little pain. No gigs inside, I can't remember my name. But I'll be strutting around you, I'll be good as new. My Jack Ron Savior will be pumping it through, yeah. I feel your heartbeat, baby, do you feel mine? I like my heartbeat when it beats all the time. I feel your heartbeat, baby, do you feel mine? I like my heartbeat when it beats all the time.
KRCL supports nonprofits like the ACLU of Utah, which advocates for the civil rights and freedoms of everyone in the Beehive State. Regardless of your immigration status, you have rights. ACLU of Utah has created Know Your Rights cards in English, Spanish, and other languages to download or print. More info at acluutah.org/resources.
Original music for the RadioActive theme song was produced by the Spy Hop Audio Apprentices.
And thank you so much. In fact, we got to launch something. I don't know if Connor launched it last week, so I'm just kind of calling an audible here for Connor Estes about our Beatmakers Challenge. And we might be talking about that before the night is over, folks. But we're always looking for ways to support the music ecosystem here in Utah. Lionfish will be back to close out the show. I've got Aldine's story to share with you as well. But first, Clint Nash is here. And Clint is a giant pumpkin fan. He grows them, and he's also president of the Utah Giant Pumpkin Growers. How you doing?
So great. Thanks for having me again. Yeah.
Now, you were trying to keep your pumpkin that you grew for the convention that's coming in March. How'd that go?
Well, it was going pretty well until about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, in October we waited. It was 1,268 pounds. And I'm like, well, if we can keep it cool inside somewhere, maybe it will last till early March so we can have fun with it at the convention. But
what happened?
Last night, they texted me there. So it's over at Mountain Valley Seeds in their warehouse. They sent me a text saying, you might want to come look at your pumpkin. So it is it's starting to rot out a little bit. It's still pretty
oozing.
Solid. It's oozing, yeah. So it's not going to make it till March, sadly.
It's the fate of all giant pumpkins. Well, all pumpkins, really.
Yep.
So how long have you been involved in giant pumpkin growing here in Utah? And what got you into it? Not just the orange hair.
Yeah. Grew my first pumpkin in, 2000. Mm-hmm. So it's been 25 years. The giant pumpkins, I just happened to stumble across. So I work at the post office. Happened to stumble upon a letter being mailed from the Utah Giant Pumpkin Growers, and I looked them up. Went to their spring seminar, and yeah,
you're like, this is for me.
Yeah.
And you've progressively just taken on more and more. You're doing the zombie walk type of thing at the Gateway. There's the whole party up in Logan on Main Street during the harvest season. And so you thought, I'm going to call the Great Commonwealth and see if they'll bring the convention here. And you just said, why not? Doesn't hurt to ask. Tell us that story.
Yeah. So the Great Pumpkin Commonwealth is kind of an organization that oversees all the giant veggies and everything that are grown across the world. Mm-hmm. They have a convention every year, and I thought, God, that would be fun to be, have here in Utah. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I just thought, why not? I put in a little bid for it, and
coming to Salt Lake.
Yeah, a few months later, we found out they were coming to Salt Lake, so it's super exciting for us.
So it's March 6th through 8th.
Yeah.
Registration's open now. Early bird ends the end of the month, folks.
Yeah.
So check tonight's show notes for a link. What can people do at this convention?
So it's going to be, it's pretty in-depth. Like the presentations are pretty in-depth. We have a plant pathologist. We have a soil scientist, a crop physiologist. We even have a neurologist coming to talk about the psychology of, the ups and downs that, with this hobby. But, and it's not just pumpkins, but also, there was a 14-pound tomato grown last year in Washington.
Oh, wow.
The new world record. And so we have also a panel on Sunday morning at the convention that's going to talk about all the different other giant things that we grow and stuff. And then, in between, good food and some time to just mingle with some of these people from around the world.
They won't be able to ice fish necessarily because we don't have a lot of cold temperatures, and some folks were coming thinking they could do that, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the things about, one of the reasons I think they chose Utah this year was, there's a lot to do around here, and we were excited to showcase all that. We still are.
Yeah.
There are people coming to ski, and the local people here know it hasn't been the best snow year.
Yeah.
And not the best ice year. But yeah, and so the new world record holder is from England, and he is a big-time fisherman also. So he's coming in, was hoping to try ice fishing.
They can fish, but not ice fish.
Yeah, we'll see how it is in early March, but it's not looking great. Yeah.
All right. Well, where can folks find out more and get registered? Check it out.
It's on gpc1.org is the website.
Okay.
All the info there. If you need, it'll be at the Hilton City Center on West Temple in downtown Salt Lake. The first group of rooms sold out. The second room's going on now. A lot of, locally here though, if you're here locally, this is just, anyway, if you've ever thought about growing anything giant or, this is just such a unique opportunity that we do not normally get here in Salt Lake. So you don't even need to book the room. Most likely, if you're local, you can just come and attend the convention, and you'll learn a lot. I promise.
All right, folks, that's all in the show notes. Thanks for coming in, Clint. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
And now here's a little bit of KRCL history. Preston Langlois had the chance to talk with Aldine, KRCL's punk rock farmer, as part of our Voices Amplified project.
I've got Al Grossi here, and we're talking about his connection to KRCL radio. And first, Al, I don't want to get too into the weeds on punk rock or anything, but I gotta say that the music that you and everyone else made and championed and just put out there back in the day, it carries a lot of weight, for me and a ton of people.
I like that. We thought we could change the world, and I don't know if we did. We were pretty naive, We screamed about government and all that stuff and authority, and but I know that we changed a little piece of the world right here at home. So that makes me feel good that you said that.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean, not like you're a Rolling Stone or something like that.
Right.
But it was a minute ago, and it still has an impact, and the message is still kind of flowing through that. So
Very good.
we all appreciate that. So first, if you just tell me a little bit about where you grew up and how the world looked to you at that time.
Okay, so I grew up in upstate New York. I was lucky enough to move to a farm in the country. My dad had the sensibilities to grow his own food, and we raised our own beef in the 60s. And that's kind of where the seed was planted for me. We always had a garden, always homesteaders, always after the farm, we always had a garden, and we were always homesteaders. I transplanted here in a weird way. My dad's company moved around, this and that. I was my radio experiences in New York, where we had an album rock station that was called WOUR that played deep cuts and whole sides of records and stuff. We had the King Biscuit Flower Hour. We had the National Lampoon Radio Hour, the Best of the Biscuit. National Lampoon Radio Hour was the not ready for primetime players before Saturday Night Live. And they had some songs like, "Oh, we can say we're smoking reefer on the radio when we're really eating cookies and you'll never know." I mean, it was some really great stuff, right? So when I came here, I moved here in 78, and I was like, what am I going to listen to? what WOUR, I get my station, and I was a hippie kid. My brother was quite a few years older than I was, but in the early 70s, I was just starting into my teens, and I wore a cowboy hat, and I listened to Marshall Tucker and Leonard Skinner, and I was a country rock guy. There was a band called the Winters Brothers back there in New York, and I got into going to concerts. I had the big stack of concert tickets. I saw Boston and ELO and REO Speedwagon, and you name any of those bands, they all came through Utica, New York. There was the War Memorial Auditorium there, and it was the jump-off point the night before they went and played Madison Square Garden. It's where a lot of the tours started. And the Peter Frampton came and opened up for ZZ Top. They played Diguelo. They had the Texas stage with the Cactuses and background singers and stuff. But Frampton opened, and he said, "This is the first time we've ever played these songs in front of people. We hope you like them." And he did do "You Feel Like We Do" and all that record, the whole "Show Me the Way" and all that stuff. And so my history with music was totally a hippie kid. And when I went to high school, I graduated in 77. I didn't like punk rock yet. I was still a hippie kid, and I was still listening to Marshall Tucker, man. They were one of my favorite bands. And when the Sex Pistols came out in 76, I was still a hippie kid. I didn't like it. And then a couple of years passed. 1978, I moved here. 1979, I'm folding night laundry at the Cliff Lodge up at Snowbird. I got a ski bum job where I did night laundry, and I skied every day. I could ski every day. I skied like 120 days a year for 5-6 years in a row. I skied more than most people ski in their lifetime, being up there at the ski resort. But when we would fold laundry, we would play records underneath the folding table, and we had some speakers we'd pull out. And we would fish around. We were fishing around on the radio one night, and I heard this stuff, and I always liked Bob Dylan and the protest stuff and Woody Guthrie and that kind of thing. When I was a hippie kid, I liked that message. I always gravitated towards that. And the hippies, free love stuff. My brother went to Woodstock. I was 10 years old, and my mom wouldn't let me go. My brother was like 23 or 4. He's 10 years older, 11 or 12 years older than I was. And so that's my music history, right? And so I'm folding night laundry, 1979, and all of a sudden we hear this music come on, and it's some bands. There's some new wave stuff and some Blondie and some Talking Heads and things, but then there's the bands like there was a band called Our Daughter's Wedding, and then there was a band I started to hear some crazy punky kind of stuff where the message was, F authority and that kind of thing, and just like I gravitated toward it. And then I heard Dead Air was the show with Brad Collins, and there was another one, Susan Brown also had a show, and Behind the Zion Curtain was one of the shows. The very first shows in 79, in December when KRCL started, I started listening to them. And that stuff created a spark for me. It really did. I was a guitar player. I started to think about punk rock. I went to see Devo in Reno in 1980. Just in that spring of that, just after KRCL started, I went with these punk rocker guys, and we were going into cafes where it was all cowboys in Reno, Nevada, and they were looking at us, and we had mohawks and stuff, and it was some tension, and it was, we caught that ridicule and stuff, and it felt good to be different. It felt good to speak out and lash out about stuff. I got in bands, and it was really because of KRCL, because of hearing that music on KRCL that sparked a spark in me. I had a band called Spencer Kimball and the Brainwashed. It was, around the Mormon stuff that was happening here. There was some things that um, I was able to tour all over the states with a band later on from Portland called Poison Idea. And I really can tell you that KRCL changed my life. And I went on a path because I heard that music. And music discovery has always been a thing. And I still love the hippie music. I still love the Americana stuff. Hits home with me really still. I waver back and forth. I had a punk band a few years ago called Sad State of Society. I was still angry. I still have some angst in me. It's not teenage anymore, but I still have some angst in there. I'm still always the F authority guy, The gardening stuff came back about 11 years ago. Laura Jones asked me, she's like, hey, I saw this picture where you posted this picture on Facebook, one big effing tomato, this and that. And do you want to maybe do something around it, like be the urban farmer, the urban gardener, the punk rock farmer? The punk rock farmer, I like that one. That one I like. And so
that was suggested by Laura.
It was suggested by Laura. This is, and because Laura and I go back to the punk rock days, right? So Laura and I go back to the Painted Word, where Laura was in an alternative rock band and Dinosaur Bones, and she came to this show that was a total punk rock show. It might have been Crash Worship, or it might have been Ted, or I can't remember exactly who it was, but I was at the door. And she came up, and she was kind of like maybe a little sheepish to go in. I was like, oh, come on in, and that was kind of our first pass on. In the old days, there were no cliques. There wasn't straight edge, there wasn't skinheads, there wasn't any of that stuff.
This is around what year?
This is in 1979, 80. This is around that... that's when the scene started for me, but no, this is around 1983 or 4. And, there wasn't any cliques yet. The scene here in those early days, 300 people would go out to a local show, and there'd be hippies and punk rockers and kids from East High that just had buzz cuts and more flannel shirts and stuff. Not before grunge or anything even. I mean, but it was just everybody, and everybody got along. It was really cool for 3 or 4 years until like maybe later on in the later 80s, and then there was straight edge, and then there was skinheads, and then people were fighting against each other. And there wasn't that solidarity like there was at the beginning.
Right. Well, so in the beginning, you just had sort of like commercial radio, commercial music, commercial media, and then you had this other thing that was really inspiring to people that brought just everyone together that was not a part of kind of, I guess, the mainstream.
The cool thing about KRCL back then was it was based on diversity, and the founders had the insight enough to be open to all the genres, I mean, to hear punk rock music playing on a public radio station, or coming out of Salt Lake, it was a gem. It was just like, wow, this is inspiring for me in my own way, in my own where I was at the time. It really just hit home and was awesome.
We talked a little bit about straw cowboy hat, kind of cowboy Al, and then we've got a little bit of the punk rock Al. How did we get back to punk rock farmer Al? What was kind of in between there?
So
it's bring you back to the straw hat.
It was always in there. It was always in there. It never went away. My roots were always in the blues, and I took some lessons from a guy in 1976 that was the guy who arranged everything for Lou Rawls in the 70s. And this is in upstate New York. His name's Carmen Carmonica. He played in the Don Costa Orchestra, would fly to Las Vegas to back up Frank Sinatra. And he was a famous kind of guy. He actually... he actually like produced all the Lou Rawls records in the 70s. Really, so crazy jazz guy, amazing guitar player. He would tune up my guitar and he'd start at the top of the neck and go from the top all the way down and play every single note on every single string in about 4 or 5 seconds, just like, and then he could do it backwards. And then he's like, okay, here's your guitar, it's in tune. And I would be just like, oh man, I'm never going to be able to do that. But he kind of set the tone to where it was improvisation, taught me how, I knew all the jazz chords he taught me, but he taught me a progression where it was a bluesy progression where you could improvise over the top of it, and he showed me the scales to improvise over the top, and then he said take it on your own and go and do with it, right? So I did. I was in hippie bands for a little bit in the late 70s, and then in the early 80s I got in these punk rock bands, and then moving towards the farmer stuff, that stuff came back too. I mean, we always had a garden even after the farm. I moved from the farm in 78 out here, and my dad sold the farm. My dad bought the farm for $19,000 in 1965, 68-acre farm with a 14-room farmhouse built in the 1800s with a U-shaped driveway with 150-year-old maple trees around it. He sold it in 78 for $105,000. My brother still lives there on 8 acres of road frontage. So the farm has always been seated in me, just like the hippie music. So, because I write country songs now too. Again, I'm in a country kind of a band. So, everything never went away. I never went one way totally. I focused a lot on punk rock, but I always go back to my roots. I know that music from the 60s and the 70s is very iconic, and people aren't making that same kind of music these days, the pop music in these days, and the genres are just pretty mediocre in their own way as compared to the way things were when people were writing those songs like the Raspberries and the Turtles, and I mean they don't write songs like that anymore. They really don't, and. So I don't think it ever went away. It didn't phase. It just sort of came back and is more pronounced now. The feeding yourself and how much it's so important now. And the way my dad said it and did it back then in the 60s, my dad knew about sustainability really without saying it. And we're very self-sufficient. The people before, the Italian people, the ethnic people, they always had a garden, right? And or you went to the farmer's market. Before the supermarkets, there was no mass-produced food before the World Wars. And this is the ethic that my dad had. He's like, okay, we're going to raise our own cows. And people would come over to our house and eat the meat around the table, and they say, where'd you get this meat? And I swear my dad say, this is local beef. It came from the barn over there. And what am I saying now these days? I want you to eat local food. I want you to know the local farmer. That stuff never went away. It's deeply ingrained from my dad.
And this is all connected to music in a way too. Where do you see the intersection of like the lessons you've learned from music and the lessons you've learned from farming, and how do you put all of that together?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I can tell you what I love about each one, right? The expression of it is really, a major thing. The beauty of the way food looks on the plate is art, and music is art, right? When I'm at the farmer's market and I sell people my veggies that I took put my love in to grow, and then I watch and see pictures of them that they post of stuff they made. That's the most rewarding thing for me. I love to cook, that's another thing that was instilled in me when I was a kid. I don't know how they weave together, but I get the same feeling, from the art part of it and the music and the farming. I can tie it all together, and just feeding people the best food and nurturing people, right? You're nurturing people. There's no more important thing I think that you can do for people than to give them life.
And you're nurturing people not just through food and feeding them and teaching them about eating and growing, but also through just talking to them and hearing from them. You've heard a ton of people's perspectives over the years on KRCL, on your show.
Oh, yeah.
How has that shaped the way that you see the world and your community, connecting with so many of these people who are involved with your passions?
I think the most important thing is what we can do as a community here at home. The world, we all know, is not the best place in this day and age and right now. It's not the free love, everybody get together now, try to love one another 60s stuff, it's not. And whatever we can do, and the people I've met along the way, to bring everyone together and do what we can here at home to make this the best place possible. And, I'm an off-grid kind of guy, too, now. And, the grid is a really nasty place for me in my eyes. And the big agriculture system and the way it just consumes, and it's made into more pesticides and more fungicides, more herbicides, and, in order to, and then a GMO seed. That system, I'm sorry, is the most broken thing that is destroying the world as it is right now. And the more we can get, I still know I'm not as naive as I was when I thought I could change the world in the early 80s when I was in punk rock bands. But like I said, we did change our little corner of it, and that's what I'm trying to still focus on. I think it's the most important thing. We focus and we all come together, and you gravitate towards those people that have the right message and are on the same page and make it really good at home.
I have a couple questions from Brad here. But he wants to know if you ever get up on the big round hay bales and if you run on them like a big wheel.
We don't have any of those here, no.
And he also wants to know if you plant the everything but the bagel seasoning from Trader Joe's in the ground, if you can grow that into a bagel plant.
That'd be awesome. I'll have to try it. I bet you. I wonder. Since it's baked in the oven, I don't think any of the seeds are going to be viable anymore that they put on it.
You got to get it raw from the factory.
Yeah.
That's the story of Aldine and his relationship with music and KRCL and being a punk rock farmer. I'm Laura Jones. Al is going to be on the road another week, but bringing us some more conversations with farmers around the region. Clint Nash, want to say thank you. Where can folks get their tickets to the conference coming up?
Yeah, so gpc1.org is where you'll be able to register. March 6th through 8th. It's in downtown Salt Lake at the Hilton City Center. Night before at the Tabernacle on the 5th. You could also hang out for free with us and just kind of socialize on that. But it's going to be a great time.
Hey, buddy, you got some seeds.
Yep, right? It really is like
Score
that.
some big seeds.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. Look forward to having you back in the spring when we start to ramp up with some tutorials, right?
Yeah, great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. And across the hall, again, thank you to our sound team tonight, Sullivan Petchenpang, Griffin Hall, Connor Estes, Maggie Brunner, and Lionfish. We're going to go out with one more song, but you got gigs coming up, and tell folks where they can find out more.
You can find out everything you need to know about us at lionfishband.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's got links to all our places.
Okay.
And we're going to be at Brewski's in Ogden on the 24th and Pat's Barbecue on the 31st.
All right, let's go out. What you got?
Okay, this song's called Grateful Ned. So a good buddy of mine, Ned Gines, Tony Mason, and myself had a record label in the late 90s. Some of the bands we birthed in that label were the Jack Mormons. We did their first 3 records. James Shook and the Resolutions. And they also had a little hippie band called Loose. And Tony Mason and the Jones. So, and then we distributed about 50 bands on the scene. There was one band that we distributed. You might know of them. They were called Atomic Deluxe.
That's been ages.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear Grateful Ned, fresh and homegrown. Lionfish taking us out here on Punk Rock Farmer Friday. It's Radioactive.
Well, you gathered your boys and the fancy noise toys. Hit the street, sounds so sweet. Hey! Oh! 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 Well, you made the rounds with that Avon sound, dragging the line, jackpot every time. Said you love me more than fishing. Oh, you said you love me more than fishing. Oh, good deal. Well, photographic memory, you always knew. Funny little facts, conclusions that you drew. Hey! Oh, oh, oh. Well, tattoo love boy, state line crossing, tightrope walker, all night tossing. Lay down in the shoe I'm missing. Said you love me more than fishing. Oh, you said you love me more than fishing. Oh, and it's you that I've been missing. Oh, you said you love me more than fishing. Oh, yeah.
KR